Hey everybody, Everyman Prepping here with you. Hope you're having a great day. And we're going to talk about food wars in this video. We know there's conventional wars, bombs and missiles. There's the economic wars that countries engage each other on. The United States is very good at this. With their reserve currency status, they have waged economic war on many countries to basically get them to bend the knee. Well, there's also, the food wars. And, an army marches on its stomach. 9 meals a way, 3 meals a day, whatever it is, from anarchy. So you control the food, you control the people. So yes, there are food wars going on. And I want to talk about how India entered this food war with their latest decision on rice. And then the second half of the video, we're going to get updated on what's going on in the Russia-Ukraine war and how that's further going to impact food. And what I think is how Russia is going to escalate this into the food wars once again. So we're going to get into those. As we do, please like, comment, and share the video, and subscribe to the channel. So let's look at our first article here. And what we have is from Reuters, and you might have heard about this a few days ago, but basically India is going to ban the export of non-Basmati rice. So rice prices are set to climb further after India export ban. So let's go read a little about this, find out why they're doing it. It says India accounts for 40% of the world's rice exports. That's huge. That's not like 5% or 10% that the Ukrainian wheat is. It's 40% of all rice. I think the second biggest one is Singapore, another nation over there in Asia. But they ordered a halt to its largest rice export category to reduce domestic prices. Inflation's hitting them so high, they decided, or that's the reason they're given at least, to ban the export of this rice, is to help their domestic population by not exporting it, have it all in-house, and hopefully reduce the prices. So the prices have climbed to multi-year highs in recent weeks as erratic weather patterns threaten production. So they're seeing a food shortage come out with rice, and maybe just saying that they wanted to keep prices down is their way of saying, hey, we know there's going to be a lot of food shortages coming on, this weather that we're having, the harvest is not going to be good, we don't want to panic the people, so we're going to keep it in the house, protect our nation, and that's the decision they made. It's a staple for most of this country. I think we read out here as it come up, there's 3 billion people depend on rice as a staple. You start cutting that off, people don't get food, they're going to get angry, they're going to riot, civil unrest, other bad stuff's going to happen, including giant price hikes. So what it says here, a Singapore-based trader said we expect a minimum gain of around $50 a metric ton, maybe $100. So yes, your rice is going to get more expensive. Make sure you go out there and get it. It says here, India's decision to ban the export coincides with strong grains in global wheat market because of the renewed concerns over the Black Sea deal and red hot food prices. Global wheat prices, they jumped 10% last week based on, we all know what happened. It says their biggest weekly gain in more than 16 months as Russia attacks Ukrainian ports. Like I said, with the second half of this video, we're going to get to more of that. Here's where it says that rice is a staple of more than 3 billion people, and nearly 9% of the water-intensive crop is produced in Asia. So the El Nino, I guess, is going to come wreak havoc on the rice supply. So if you are need rice, if you're stacking rice and beans and you haven't done it, you're thinking about it, you better get on it, because we're going to let's look at the second story here, what's happening. It says there are fights over rice begin in U.S. stores. I haven't seen this personally in my local stores. I don't know if you've seen it run low, but there's news stories out there about people fighting over rice, hoarding rice, emptying the shelves of rice, going basically pandemic mode on it like toilet paper because, they don't want A, pay higher prices, B, they think it's going to run short, so they want their rice now. Like I said, it's a staple for many people around the world. It says the Indian government's ban on non-Basmati wheat rice. Like I said earlier, many Indians residing in the U.S. have rushed to Indian stores and retailers like Costco to stockpile rice bags until the ban is lifted. And that's one thing about the ban. Is it going to be short-term, long-term? No one knows. India hasn't said. That causes uncertainty. Uncertainty causes anxiety, which causes chaos, which causes people to go buy every grain of rice they can find. So it says here there's several Indian stores that have been forced to display no stock signs, blah, blah. So if you're looking for it, like I said, if you're stacking it, don't get into a situation where there's a problem at the store. You better go there now. Does it mean it's going to run out of supply here? I don't know. Could be, could not be. But if you're stacking beans and rice and you haven't done it, you don't have enough, you might want to go pick some up now. Plus, it's probably going to be cheaper what's in the store now than a few weeks from now when it's still banned from India, and the companies, corporation using that excuse to jack those prices. So save money now and go out and get it. So that's the rice war. That's the rice war going on. And it might spread to other countries. I don't know. We'll see. Let's get into the Russia thing here. Well, let's get into this here. So what happened last night is there were major drone attacks, not only in Crimea, but in Moscow. Another drone attack inside of Moscow. And we're going to see from Dmitry Medvedev in a minute what he says about this and why I think it's going to go after more food, more supplies, into the food war. So what we have is says that I've read reports of 2 drones, 10 drones, 11, multiple drones got into Moscow from Ukraine. And you can see here in a minute that Kiev is basically saying, yeah, they did it this time. Usually they don't say, this time they are. But the Defense Ministry said that electronic warfare systems jammed 2 Ukrainian drones, causing them to crash. They said no one was hurt. However, you're going to see some photos. I'll show you in a minute. There's significant damage to at least one non-residential building. There's a photo here. We'll get a little better picture. So there's also some damage done very close to the Defense Ministry headquarters. It was on a different building, but they got close. What also was hit is kind of like the French Home Depot, their headquarters building. And what's it called here? The home improvement chain called Leroy Merlin, I guess. That building was hit, and there's been reports that they're helping Russia somehow, I guess, giving them supplies to build stuff, I guess. I don't know, but they're thinking that's why it was targeted, because it's the French Home Depot in Moscow, and they say they're supplying Russia with war materials. So that's how that goes. Let's look at some photos really quick here. First of all, let me start this. It's a video of a drone. I think this is called the Beaver drone. You can see it almost looks like it's flying backwards. This guy loses it for a minute here, but you'll see. But this one actually has the small fins in the front, large in the back. So it looks like it's flying backwards, but it's not. It's actually coming at you. It just created different. That's how they know it's from Ukraine. It's very unique to Ukraine. So that's an incoming. Here's the building near the Ministry of Defense that was hit. Some roof damage there. Some shops across the street were damaged. I believe this is that French Home Depot headquarters building that looks like was hit. Some debris on the ground. And then we have that same building with the guy looking out saying, yes, that's a very big hole in my building right now. All right, let's go back to the article now, because I want to see some other reaction from the Ukrainian side themselves. And we have Andriy Yuzov, the spokesperson for the Ukrainian military intelligence. He says, this testifies to the fact that the Putin regime is unable to fully control the skies, even for the protection of the most important facilities. He's talking about Moscow, Ministry of Defense, whatnot. And then he says, which is very bold here, obviously, this situation will continue and increase in scale. So, according to this, Ukraine and Kiev, they're going to send more drones, larger, bigger ones, into Moscow to attack more. They're going to ramp it up. And thus, this is why I think that Russia's going to react to this. Let's see what Dmitry Medvedev says they should do, which is why I think it's going to have impact on foods and supplies. Here we got the Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev. I put up a community post this earlier. You'll be able to see it if you go on the community posts. But basically what he said on Monday is he's calling for severe retaliation for the attempted attack. I know they said attempted attack, but obviously it was, because things were damaged. And he said they should select non-standard targets to exact revenge. All right, non-standard. What's that mean? Well, he kind of goes into it. He says here, quote, we also need to select non-standard targets for our strikes, not just storage sites, energy hubs, or oil bases. There are other places where nobody would be expecting us and where strikes would have a widely felt impact. So what's he talking about there? Well, I think he's talking about hitting some of the civilian infrastructure, water, food, more exports, things like that. As we can see from this photo here, these are in Odessa. They're pummeling Odessa. People think it's because of the grain deal. I think it's still enacting revenge from the Kerch Bridge bombing. But these are grain storage, I believe, and oil storage. This is oil here. They're hitting Odessa. That's the port area. But they're also blowing up grain storage sites and these little tin-covered huts. I don't know what they're, Quonset huts, whatever you want to call them, but full of grain. Other pictures you see out there are grain that's been burned because it's been set on fire because it's been bombed. So I believe they're going to ramp this up. They're going to go after more grain, more storage, more food, more water, more infrastructure, and thus more food wars, like I've been pointing out. In fact, last night, Russia hit this town called Reni. And you'll notice if you look down here, this is Ukraine, this is the Danube River, and this is Romania, as it says right here. So they hit the port area. I think the port area might be here, it might stretch through here, but they hit the port area of Reni, because this is where they ship out a lot of the grain from also. So they hit it with missiles. Well, if you look, if that missile just goes a little bit on the other side of the river, well, now we're bombing Romania. Romania is in NATO. Do you enact Article 4, Article 5? Does this bring other countries in the war? Or because, as you can see in this area, it's basically farmland. You're going to blow up some crops, you're going to kill a cow or two or something. Maybe. Does NATO enact Article 5 errant missile goes over here from Russia because they were aiming for the port and it missed? Because of miscalculation. I don't know if NATO, that's would be a huge step because, yes, it hit another country. It hit Romania. Romania's in NATO. They could, but I think they would take measured look at that and say, well, it did, made the missile malfunction, blew up some farmland, not good. If it happened once, they may let it slide. It happens a couple times, maybe they do, but it's always a possibility. Always a possibility that NATO's just waiting for something like this to happen so they can go full on Article 5 and enter the war full force. So look for that. But I say it's really close. They're playing with fire, Russia is, because they're very close to NATO. Very, very close. And then we have this. These are ships. All these little green dots are ships. It's the same area. This is that Reni, if I'm pronouncing it right, area, the port city. We can see all the ships docked all along the Danube River, all the way out to the Black Sea, and there's a ton of them out here. The article I was reading said there's about 50 of them out here. So what are they doing? They're waiting. They're waiting for to see this grain deal. Because Russia said, we're going to assume every ship could be, carrying weapons, and we might shoot it, might sink it. So these ships aren't going anywhere. Food's not moving. Corn, sunflower oil, Ukraine's the #1 producer of that. So, wheat's not moving. Wheat's already spiked in price. So you can see the backlog already happening down here. And that's going to continue. And one thing I want to address is don't believe all what you hear also about Africa's going to starve because of the grain deal not going through. Oh, the grain's supposed to go to Africa. Africa's going to starve. People are going to die. That wasn't happening before. So one of the Italian ministers, I don't know if it was their agricultural or trade, I don't know who it was, but it was the other day he said that most of that grain from Ukraine was going to Italy and other European Union nations. So it was going to feed Europe. It wasn't going to Africa. So, don't believe what they're saying that, that's what NATO's putting out there. That's what people that want to punish Russia are saying. But Africa's not going to starve because of this. Will Africa have to go somewhere else to get some grain? Yes. Will it drive prices up? Yes. But they're not going to starve because this grain was going to China and Europe anyway. It wasn't going where they're saying it is. That's just a ploy they're using on you. They're gaslighting it to make people think that people are starving because of this. It's not happening. Just want to make sure everybody knows that because that's what I see the media throwing out right now. So to summarize, India rice, price is going to stock. Get it now if you're doing your rice and beans, long-term storage. Might want to get that now if you need to because it will be more expensive. Wheat's already going up. I see Moscow, Russia, Putin, whatever you're going to say, escalating into non-military targets. I believe they're going to go after more food, more water, more civilian stuff. So that'll cause more international world chaos and pressure on food and food shortages. So I hope you got something out of this. Use the knowledge to keep prepping. Get what you need. Like I said, I still think you got a few months until August, September, where I think it's going to start getting really bad again. So, plus that recession coming. And so until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.